Hey gamers, this is Liz Davidson from Beyond Solitaire, and today I'm going to be reviewing Mini DiverCity from Sphere Games. In a game of Mini DiverCity, you and your fellow divers, should you choose to accept them, are trying to convince your local government that Mini DiverCity should become a national park and a protected area. You are battling against corporations who want to build hotels along the beach, drill for oil, and basically endanger all of the beautiful species that live here, as well as make the beaches look ugly and not like the beautiful natural space they're meant to be. In order to win, you're going to have to save the number of species that are indicated by your difficulty level. So if you're playing an easy game, you have to save maybe like 5 species, but if you're playing on super hard, you have to save 9. You lose the game, however, if the corporations kill the number of species that are shown on the difficulty level you chose, if all 6 hotels are built, so these cards flip to show hotels, or if your species card deck runs out. So if this deck runs out, it's like a timer, and once you're out of cards, there's nothing left to do to save your city. In the multiplayer game, each hero is going to choose one of these divers, each of whom has a special power. In the solo game, you're going to essentially control 2 divers with 2 separate hands. So let's say that we just have these 2 divers. Let's just place them over here for visual sake. Normally they'd be closer to me. And the other thing that you're going to be doing is you're going to draw 4 cards for each diver. However, you are not actually allowed to look at your cards. In Mini DiverCity, you are playing blind. So the other player in a multiplayer game can see your cards, but you cannot. The first turn in any round of Mini DiverCity is the corporation's turn, and what that means is you're going to flip one of these corporation cards and you are going to follow through on the consequences of that card. So for example, here what we have is a hotel card, and we know that we are going to have to flip the hotel cards with the purple and blue shells. So you would flip these, and that is the corporation turn for this round. The corporation cards can do a couple of other things. Let's just go ahead and find them. So this one is dynamite fishing, and what you're going to do for dynamite fishing is you're going to actually flip the top card of the species deck over here, and then the species that shows is going to move towards extinction on the extinction track. So let's say that we had, a blue lobster. The blue lobster would move towards extinction. And then if it moves off of this card, the species is extinct and we have failed to save it. The oil rig has basically the same effect as the dynamite fishing, except that instead of drawing a card from the species deck, you are pulling a card blind from your hand. So whoever the active player is has to choose a card from their hand to play, and whatever that card is will move closer to extinction. You do get to draw back up, but the challenge of the game is that you don't necessarily know what species you're endangering when you pull from your hand. There are also dual cards that do a bit of everything. So this one has both dynamite fishing and hotel building. So you never know what you're going to get off of the corporation deck, but you can guarantee that it will be bad. Once the corporation turn has gone by, then it is the diver's turn to choose one of 3 actions. The first thing that you can do is you can just go ahead and play a species card from your hand. You do play it without looking at it. So you would basically, if I'm this diver and I want to save a species, I can just pick a card from my hand. We're going to flip it face up. So in this case, I've helped the crabs of this area survive, and if I can play one more crab card and push the token off of the card, I have completely rescued the crabs of Mini DiverCity. One of the other actions I can take is I can discard any card from my hand without looking at it, so I'm discarding blind, in order to close down a hotel. So basically I could have taken this card instead and just played it face down, and it would have allowed me to close down a hotel of my choice. You might be asking, well, if I'm playing all these cards blind, how will I ever make smart plays? And the answer to this is the third action, which is the walkie-talkie action. So when you do a walkie-talkie action, you don't get someone to tell you what your animals are, but you can tell another player what animals they have in their hand. So if I'm going to use the walkie-talkie action, what I'll get to do, if this is the player who's going, then I'll flip over the cards that this player has, and we'll get to see what species cards are in their hand. Then what will happen is that these will actually stay flipped over, but as this player draws new cards, those will come into their hand face down, and we won't be able to see those cards until we take the walkie-talkie action again. So that's a game of Mini DiverCity. Basically, all you're going to do is deal with what comes off the corporation deck and deal with it by taking one of the 3 actions on your turn. You can play a species card to save a species. You can play a species card to close down a hotel, or you can tell the other player what's in their hands so that they can play their species cards a little bit more cleverly. So now for some final thoughts. There are a lot of things to appreciate about Mini DiverCity. For me, the primary thing is the theme. I actually really like trying to save endangered species, try to prevent hotels from taking over the beautiful, pristine beaches, and generally trying to do some good for the oceans. I think it's good that we have games that are attempting to confront real issues in our world right now, and Mini DiverCity does it in a way that's relatively cute while also being about something serious. Another pro for Mini DiverCity is that it's very easy to teach and to learn. It's a light game, it's a filler with not a whole lot of complexity to it, but in this case that's actually good because the difficulty of the game comes not from the actions that you can take, but from actually trying to cooperate with other people to get the tasks done. However, as a solo game, I'm going to say that Mini DiverCity is not that great. There are a lot of other small box options for solo on the market right now, and I don't see any reason to choose Mini DiverCity over a stronger solo small box game. One of the reasons for that is that, honestly, I don't think this game was really meant to play solo. The main reason for this is that if you look at the game mechanically, it's not really meant for one person. A lot of the drama of the game is drawing blind, playing a card blind, or using the walkie-talkie action to find out what's in your hand or communicate with somebody else about what's in theirs. In the solo game, it's really more like playing Hanabi with yourself. It's just not as exciting as it would be with somebody else. The simplicity of this game, I think, also detracts from the solo experience because the challenge of something like Mini DiverCity would probably come from having more players involved and not from anything in the game that's particularly mechanical. All in all, Mini DiverCity isn't actually a bad game. It's a pretty snappy game and has its fun moments, and it's something that I would definitely consider playing with, say, my students, with beginning gamers, or especially with younger kids. However, as a solo game for an adult hobby gamer, I'm not really sure that Mini DiverCity has that big of a market, and I'm definitely not part of it if it does. Happy gaming.
Thanks so much for watching another Dice Tower video. If you enjoy our videos, subscribe to the channel for more fun, comprehensive board game coverage. Also, consider joining us at one of our events. Come to Dice Tower Retreat, a small, intimate gathering where gaming is king. Join us for Dice Tower Cruise, the largest board game cruise. Attend Dice Tower West in Las Vegas for gaming fun on the West Coast, or Dice Tower East in Orlando in sunny Florida. Dice Tower Conventions, the friendliest gaming conventions on Earth. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.